I'm Robert.
I'm James.
I'm Dawson.
I'm Andrew.
And this is the Adrenaline Factory. Alright guys, well it's Tuesday. We got back from the St. Louis Drift event. Everything kind of went well. Ran into a couple small issues with the car, nothing that kept us from drifting. We did have some issues with the radiator. We weren't getting enough flow at it. So after about 3 runs, it was starting to warm up. I kind of anticipated that though, because we don't have any shroud or anything on the radiator. So I think that we'll be covered once that is fixed. Another thing is we don't have that high amp alternator put on yet. And I think that that might be preventing some of the voltage going to the fans. You can kind of hear when the fans cycle and stuff. You can hear it in the fuel pumps because the alternator's just not quite big enough to handle the power steering and all that stuff. I kind of anticipated that was going to be an issue, but overall it didn't overheat or anything. It was just coming below or above half by about 2 or 3 points. Honestly, I don't even think that that's really over temping because we did have to set up the CAN bus protocol for this gauge cluster, and if I remember right, Jason and I kind of landed in between because the gauge was fluctuating at the halfway point. So I think we left it a little bit on the higher scale, so I would anticipate that it's even hotter when it's over half, and realistically I think that's about what operating temp should be. So I think it was just slightly above that. But overall everything went good. Had a great time with the family. We got a chance to get out of KC for a while and kind of do this event. We didn't also have our media guy with us, so it was basically just us shaking down the car and kind of getting a good way to have some family time without a bunch of cameras and footage and stuff, so it was kind of relaxing. Overall everybody was happy. My kid got to ride in it about half the time. The girl spent about the rest of the time in there also. Haven't done any ride-alongs with the car yet. Probably something we're going to hold off on for a little while just to give them a lot of time. They've, spent a lot of time with me, and I want to spend that time with them in the car and actually get a chance to go to some of these events out of town and stuff. But now we can kind of focus a little bit more on the body work. I've been seeing a lot of comments about when we're going to finish it. A lot of that is due to the fact that we wanted to give the car a proper shakedown, make sure that we didn't have to change anything drastic. We also, after we got it back, we did take it down and do a weight on it. We went to a local truck stop and weighed it. Now keep in mind, this isn't going to be the total weight because we don't have the door windows in yet, don't have the back window in, don't have the spoiler, the headlights, or a lot of the other things in. But the car weighed in at 2,440 pounds full of fuel with nobody in it. So that's empty. So I think we're still going to be pretty close to what my ultimate goal was, which was about 2,650, 2,700 pounds. Another thing to keep in mind is us moving all that weight forward. We ended up with a front weight of 1,140 pounds and 1,300 dead even on the back. So that is a really close to 50-50 weight for a car that's mid-engine. So I was really happy with that because most of the weight that we're still adding is going to kind of add to the front. The door windows, the A-pillar section, B-pillar section, headlights. And then we also get more downforce because of the shape of the front of the car. So ultimately I think we ended up with a really good balance. The car felt great. So another thing we did is just before this event, we wanted to make sure that we were playing by all the rules. And we went ahead and added these fire extinguishers. I got one on each side. These are something you have to have for the drifting. Any level, they normally require these and your harnesses and a bunch of other things. But the biggest thing was we were going to be doing a proper shakedown on the car, and I didn't want to have any issues and egress and all that. So that's why we got this door working and got these mounted and put the harnesses in finally. We also put all the plates in under the seats, so those were open before. It turned out great. We came down to the wire, spent a lot of time on it for a few days before the event to make sure that the car was ready and we could actually go out and slide it like I wanted to. And it definitely paid off. So another thing that we did just before the event is Jason and I spent a day going through the wiring and pulled out a lot of the unnecessary wires that were up here and everything that was hanging down from the turn signals and the wipers. So we got that all cleaned up. We had to make sure that we had the door bars in here for the tandems, which we didn't end up doing a whole lot of because we actually ran out of tires. So we tried to get some for the event and nobody local had the sizes we needed. So I just took 2 sets of used tires and we burned through them pretty quick. But so these door bars and the A-pillar support bar, these are referenced off of Daigo Sato's Murcielago for Monster Energy. We basically built it kind of basically off of that same principle, since the layout is similar, the right-hand drive, and the setup of the chassis is, you know, pretty dead on to the Murcielago. So, all right, so again, our media guy wasn't able to show up to the event, but my girlfriend and our son got some videos on their phone, so we'll show you some of that footage also. We actually ended up not being able to use a lot of the footage that I had hoped for just because background noise and stuff, but luckily we got sent a lot of footage from kind of a local media to St. Louis, and Jacob had to edit some of the pictures here, but he moved them around to keep the watermarks on there, so some of them are probably distorted from shortening maybe, but we wanted to make sure that we gave that attention to these guys. So if you hit on anything, definitely check these guys out also. But overall, we had a great time, got a good chance to kind of feel the car, so now I know a lot of you guys are ready to see this thing painted, and we are too, so we can kind of move on from that and get started on some of this fiberglass work. Also, we have some possible big news. Not gonna divulge anything too crazy, but we might be taking this thing out to LA here soon, so kind of keep up on that too. All right, guys, well, that's it for this one. Be sure to check us out next week.